Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Faeria? Faeria? How do you pronounce it? I don't know, so I'm gonna stick to something consistent. I'm calling it Faeria for the time being. Yeah. Just to make it more difficult, we also have a developer whose name is a little odd. I think it's Abrakam is the name of the development house. You're killing me here. Stop it. This is a collectible tactics game. It is a card game with a board. Both of those seem to fit fairly well. This is not a new title, but it is new to Steam. This is the 1.0 release that came out a few days ago. It's been working off of Steam for quite some time in beta and has an established player base, which seems to have translated quite well since the initial launch of the game on Steam has been pretty successful. It was one of the trending games on Steam over the last few days and is hitting between 1,500 and 2,000 concurrents regularly on the Steam platform. And that's not counting those that run the client off platform. Not a bad little launch, really, in a genre that is a little bit crowded and dominated in the digital space by none other than Hearthstone. So you may very well be wondering, well, I already have Hearthstone. What is this? Should I be bothering with it? Well, the answer is, depends what you're looking for. Quite similar in its differences, I suppose, to Chronicle RuneScape Legends. This is nothing like Hearthstone whatsoever. It has a few very basic similarities, such as deck size and the fact that it is a card battler game. Everything else, yeah, you can throw that out of the window, because this is basically a collectible hex-based tactics game, and it's quite the thing. So I'm going to take some time to show you things like deck building, talk a little bit about the business model, and also demonstrate to you a battle and show you a little bit of the so-called Pandora mode, which is their answer to Arena, which has got a few little interesting twists going on. A quick look at the options menu, and it will be quick. There's not really a lot to see here. It is a card game, so unsurprisingly, there's not really a lot going on here. You wouldn't really expect there to be. Interestingly, if you pick this up on iOS, and you can link your account so you can play it on both, which is quite neat. It's coming to Android a little bit later. You actually have resolution options on iOS, which to me was just so bizarre to see. I don't know if they actually work, but I saw it down the bottom like, wow, I think that might be the first time I've ever seen that happen. But there you go. The client's basically identical on both. Okay, so we're going to start by talking a little bit about the way that the game is monetized, since I think that that is going to be a concern for quite a few people. You may notice two currencies here. You've got gold, and you have these crystals. There is a daily login reward, which gives you gold, sometimes crystals, and packs. So if you're logging in every day, you're getting progressively stacking rewards. Always nice. There are quests available, as you can see right here. This current one, if I play a practice run, it'll actually get me 400 gold. That's almost half a pack, incidentally, so that's not too bad at all. I've already done several daily quests today that have earned me a decent amount of gold. And you've got the crystals here. Now, when it comes to the cost, you can see right here. 250 gems will get you one pack, I believe. So a pack is $1. Obviously, if you're buying in larger amounts, you're getting bonuses. So if you were to look at, say, $20, you get 7,500 gems. And if we head to the store, you'll see exactly what that gets you. Quite a bit. 250 gems per battle chest, which consists of 5 cards. You may also notice this, the mythic chest. This is very much an optional thing to buy and contains shiny cards and cosmetics, far as I can tell. I might open one of them just to show you what happens, and I'll open a couple of chests here as well. So you've got those two options, and you can also buy things under Deals of the Week, which these are all cosmetic. You can change the look of your mana wells, you can get card backs, you can get a different avatar that also comes with different emotes and things like that. So they've already fleshed out the cosmetic side of the monetization. Not too shabby. The game is, of course, free to play, as you might imagine, and there is a Steam pack that you can buy within the first few weeks of launch, which is a big discount. I picked that up, and that gave me a nice little head start. All right, let's open a mythic chest and see exactly what's in it, and we'll also buy a few battle chests as well. Might as well spend the rest of my gems there, and I can show you what's going on with that. There's a couple of interesting things going on with the pack opening that I haven't seen in other games. Click here. We'll open the nice shiny mythic chest first and see what's there. As I said, it pretty much cosmetics. 4 mythic items. Click those and that's see what you get. Nice shiny gold cards, basically, for the most part. And every now and again, you'll unlock an avatar or a cosmetic change to your wells and things like that. So, really, this is just to buy if you're looking for shiny stuff. There's no real need to buy this for any other purpose. Now, if we open your basic chests, which can be bought for 1,000 gold coins or the 250 gems, so basically $1 or less if you're buying the larger amount of currency, you get 5 cards. Now, there's one interesting thing about that, in that your pack is going to have a minimum of a rare in it, and of course, to go to epic and legendary as well. You have the option to reroll 1 card of rarity or higher. This means that you get to pull again, and it will guarantee the same or higher rarity when you do so. The purpose of that is so that you don't end up with a bunch of duplicate high rarity cards that you then have to disenchant for a terrible amount of the disenchanting currency. This is a problem in Hearthstone. I'm sure if you have pulled a duplicate legendary, you know the pain of that. So this is a nice little function, and indeed, failed experiment, as far as I can tell, in the decks that I've got is useless. So you know what, I'm going to re-roll it. And instead, I got an Imperial Engineer, which is a neutral card, trigger all production abilities when you play it. That's lovely. That's a nice little feature. I like that. So we'll open up a few more packs. You may have noticed that the game has different colors. There are 4 colors of card plus colorless. Now, in order to play a lot of these cards, what you're going to need is land. And you're thinking, it's a Magic the Gathering clone. No, 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 no. Hold your horses, Sonny Jim. Land is a very odd part of this game, a very unique part, because you play it on an empty board, and it's a tile that you put down. Now, land allows you to play cards of certain colors upon it. And there are also minimum requirements for certain cards. So you'll see here, the Elderwood Hermit needs 1 forest of your ownership on the board in order to play it. If I want to play Firestorm, I need 3 fire here. But land doesn't get you mana. Land has nothing to do whatsoever with mana. It's simply territory. You can play cards upon it. So you can mix up these 4 different colors, plus of course colorless, but if you mix it up too much, you're probably going to struggle to play enough of this special land to really play all of your cards. And you'll see exactly what I mean once we get into a game and I play some of that land. You'll immediately realize how tricky it would be to get a large variety of it. Nice, got 2 blues in that one, and last but by no means least, we'll open this up and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's that lovely yak. That yak is adorable. They do not have a plush of this yak, and that makes me upset. A second Primeval Colossus. I like that. In fact, I might actually put that in my deck. So, that's an ideal time to go and have a little look at deck building. So, this is my current deck that I use on ladder. It's... I'm gonna have to keep working on it. It's primarily a green deck with a little splash of red in it. And I also have 1 neutral card because I happen to pull this as a legendary, which is pretty cool, so thought I'd hang on to that if possible. Decks are limited to 30 cards, as you can see. The number of cards you can have of each type is 3, unless it's a legendary, in which case you're limited to 1, I believe. So you can have up to 3 of anything else duplicate-wise. What I want to do is take that Colossus. I'm just going to click the filter up to the top right here. All the way down here, the Primeval Colossus. And let's see, what can I throw out in favor of that? I already have 1 of them. It's a very forest-heavy deck. I have a bunch of stuff which allows me to summon free forests and things like that, like the Seed Sower, for instance. So I get a lot of forests, which means that Primeval Colossus actually plays pretty well. Maybe I toss away that Shamanic Dance and put a Primeval Colossus in instead. This thing is getting a little pricey. I should probably do something with that. I have this legendary card down here, which is... Garrod Heart of the Mountain or whatever, and I think I splashed red in here solely so that I could take this. Because, hey, it's a big dragon, why would you not want to take that? But yeah, I think my deck is a little pricey. Probably need to do something about that and refine it. One thing I would like to see in this deck building, which a lot of card games do not implement, and it is annoying, is the ability to put more than 30 cards in the deck and then thin it down. that makes deck building easier. Essentially, you throw all the cards that you would want into a deck, and then you trim it down to the 30-card limit. This makes things much, much easier when it comes to deck building. So, could you implement that? That would be cool. Not enough games have that. There's only 1 or 2 card games that I play or have played that have implemented it, but it is a nice little feature and something lacking from digital card games, no doubt about that. All right, again, pricey deck, average mana cost of 5. You might think, well, that's insane. There's no way you could play that. Well, mana doesn't work quite the same way in this game, so you'll see what I mean momentarily. All right, let's dive into a game then. So, after an extensive tutorial, and a quick warning about the tutorial, by the way, you cannot create your account until you finish the tutorial. It'll let you pick a name, but it won't let you pick a password and actually solidify your account until you've done all the tutorial missions. I'll also say the tutorial is a little overbearing at times. Like, it'll say, oh, you better go do this, because you've got this. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, these are unnecessary little features that you're showing me here, but it's not too bad. You get a bunch of rewards for it, and the game also has, if we click solo here, a bunch of solo mission packs, and there are some really nice rewards available for doing these missions. Quite a lot of single-player content available here. This will unlock things such as deck templates. So if I go here, you'll see all of these starter decks, and this template right here, I'm missing a bunch of stuff for it, but this is a blue invasion deck and all sorts of things like that. They're called Formula, and most card games seem to have that. Even Hearthstone has that now, so that's a nice piece of functionality nonetheless. All right, we're going to jump in online and see what happens. I'm probably going to get my arse handed to me. You might notice there's another mode here called Pandora. It's pretty neat. Hopefully I'll get the opportunity to show you a little bit of that, because it's a nice twist on the arena formula. Queue times haven't been too bad for the moment. I have run into probably about a minute's worth of queuing, and it has a standard ranked system that starts at 25, just like Hearthstone, and you got your casual yak mode as well if you wish to play that. Thankfully, I went straight into the ranked mode because I assumed that playing casual would probably match me up against people that are a lot more experienced, because the MMR is probably a bit fuzzier. So the ranked mode makes sure that I don't run into these people that have been playing for probably over a year now. Faeria has been, I almost did it, Faeria has been available in beta for quite some time off of Steam, so I didn't exactly want to run into those people if I could avoid it. I believe while you're queued, you can also mess around with deck building and things like that. There's your constructed queue in the side, and in we go. 50 seconds. Not too shabby. I have certainly seen worse. Like I said, at the moment, the game is not having any population problems, so you don't really need to worry too much about that. All right, welcome to Faeria, and immediately you were noticing this ain't no daddy's Hearthstone. No, it is not. Oh, we're gonna mulligan, and we're gonna get rid of, I think we're gonna actually get rid of everything here. As upsetting as it is for me to throw away my big scary dragon, I actually need stuff that I can play. I was hoping to get a cedar so that I could get additional lands, but never mind. So, Faeria is played on this hex-based grid, and the grid starts off with no tiles at all. You have to place the tiles. Now, in order to do that, you use the, I think it's called the power wheel or something like that over here, and this allows you to take a wide variety of different actions. First things first, I'm going to play the equivalent of the coin here, which is Explore, which allows me to play a little bit of catch-up. I'm going to use it to place one Prairie. Prairie is your generic land. You can play neutral cards or structures on it. Structures are things that can't move. Now, this is a special land, and this would allow me to summon a creature, potentially. Can't do it quite yet, but I'm going to go for it anyway, because I'm going to need a minimum of 2 anyway. And I'm going to end the turn. Now, unlike games like Hearthstone, mana rolls over. So, in this case, you get 3 mana per turn by default. If you wish, you can select gain an additional mana from the power wheel. You could also select draw a card from the power wheel, and so on and so forth. Nice little idea that makes sure that you generally don't get starved of mana and so on and so forth. You don't get starved of land or anything like that. Alright, let's see where we are at the moment. I think we're going to be putting down a Venduran force, and it can contest this. He's sort of rushing forward with a bunch of neutral cards. So, as you can see, the mana rolled over. Now, 3 is the default that you get. However, you can gain additional mana by taking one of the 4 Faeria wells on the map. Now, if you move towards it, you will be able to gain it at the start of your turn. You can also steal the Faeria from an opponent's well by moving up to it during your turn while they're sitting next to it. So you can grab the stuff there. If you dump something next to it yourself, then it doesn't grab the mana from the well immediately. If you move next to it, it grabs the mana immediately. So I'm going to grab this, and that's going to give me the 3, plus the 1, takes me up to a 6. Not too shabby, eh? And what I could then do is drop something really unpleasant. I actually have a nice creature that is ideal for this purpose. That's my 3rd land down, so I'm really investing heavily in these forests early on, and I'm going to put a Grove Guardian down here. This has Taunt. The way Taunt works in this game is you have to attack it. You must. You do not have a choice in the matter. We're just going to splat that. You can't even move away from it. If you're next to something with Taunt, you have no choice but to attack it. So it's a very powerful positional card. Now, the tile laying aspect of this game makes it very interesting because you have to be extremely careful as to where you place your tiles. Your tiles can't be overridden. As far as I know, there's no way to destroy existing land, far as I know. There may very well be, I just haven't encountered it yet. But it allows you to place your minions directly on top of it. So what you want is to try and get as close to the enemy god as possible. There's the enemy god over there. What we're going to do here is go whack and whack. I want to sort of start moving towards the center. You can only place land adjacent to other land that you own, unsurprisingly. All right, we want to really get rid of this if possible. You know what, we might actually just splat that. Let's just clear him out here. There we go, 1 down. And take him out as well. Now, you can't move after you've attacked. I would have loved to grab that if possible, but I wasn't able to. What I could do is play this Ancient Beastmaster right back here. Let's get a card on the board and end it. So the whole aspect of land control is super important. There are strategies that I've seen which involve rushing straight down the middle, trying to get as close to your opponent as possible. There are strategies which involve being very cautious and trying to cover most of the area near your god with your own land so that the enemy will not be able to place creatures very close by. Ooh, that's nasty. A red devil. It gives them a bunch of extra mana as well. Not really a fan of that. Want to try and get rid of it if at all possible. There's another one of those primeval colossi. Now, knowing that I have some red, what I may want to do is possibly place even more special land. I was thinking of maybe trying to move around the side here. Maybe grab 2 more of this so that I can put a land in this area. That would probably make me a giant pain in the arse, so I think we may very well try to do that. Move this card forward here, and then place my Bloom Sprite. And we can get rid of this little devil here. Yeah, I don't see why not. Trade it out, why not? Get rid of it, and end the turn. That alone adds such a unique element to this that I haven't really seen in other games. Even stuff like Duelist, which also involves movement and positioning and tactics-like elements, doesn't involve building the board as you go. And that in itself is a whole new level of depth, and I've been caught completely off guard sometimes by that. I thought I was doing well and then realized, oh, there's a hole in my defenses. He dumps down a land really close to my god and suddenly overwhelms me very quickly. Once creatures get near the enemy god, it tends to end the game pretty fast. The downside of that system is that in quite a few games, unless both players are attempting to rush each other, you do have a relatively slow start. A lot of that is counteracted by this whole idea of rolling over mana, which is lovely because it means that you're very rarely going to be stuck in a position where you can't do something or play something interesting. Like that, for instance. Oh dear, there's a 7/7 that just got buffed up to an 8/8, and it's right next to your shiz. Not good for you, eh? In the meantime, I'm going to sacrifice this so that I can draw a nice, cheap Grove Guardian, almost for free there. Now, I will lose this card, by the looks of it. Seeing if there's a way that I could pull back, but no, you by default can move 1 hex and then attack. So, this guy's probably dying, but you know what? That's fine. I have this 8/8 of Endurance Force right next to his god. He's going to have to do something about that. And I may very well force him into a position where he can't drop more land. In fact, he does that very smart. He puts a mountain right next to himself so that he can place a quick card down. Not a bad idea. So he's got something in defensive position, but obviously I'm going to try and run over it. He's trying to do the same thing over here. But I have my Grove Guardian. I'm going to dump that down, and things are about to get very unpleasant for him. That positional play and control of the mana wells and things like that opens up a huge amount of strategic variety. You can pull off all sorts of crazy stuff. I could dump that Seed Sower down if I had the mana for it right over here, and it might very well put an additional forest there and pull all sorts of things like that. What I'm going to do instead is put the Grove Guardian down. That's a good way to go. And then I look at it and I'm thinking, okay, do I need more land? I already have 4 forests. Obviously, with this Primeval Colossus, more land would be good. Or do I need more mana? Or do I need more cards? The fact that you have the option to do any of those things adds a crucial amount of decision-making and flexibility. And I like the fact that they seem to have designed against the concept of the dead turn where you can't do anything, which obviously is a very frustrating experience for people. There's nothing worse than saying, oh god, I have literally nothing I can do. You've always got something you can do, even if it's not particularly exciting. And I appreciate that. Okay, I think what I want to do is try and secure the rest of the land around here, because otherwise he could actually take this land right there and just dump creatures right next to my god, which doesn't sound like a good idea. So let's prevent it from doing that by putting down 2 prairies. Incidentally, you can also override your own prairies with a colored land type later on if the game has a tendency of running long. And sometimes it does. Game length is, on average, I would say, longer than Hearthstone. You can certainly play this on an iOS device. I believe it's only the iPad that it's available for at the moment. It's not a game designed for quick play, though. No doubt about that. And games can range anywhere between about 10 to 20 minutes, I would say. Certainly not the crazy lengthy stuff that we saw from things like Scrolls or anything like that. No, no, no. But yeah, it'll take a while. Ooh, okay, we have some opportunities here. Probably, like, dump the Seed Sower down. There we go. And that gives me that nice extra freebie, and we're just going to go for the kill here. Seems like the way to go. I'm holding my Grove Guardian here as a taunt. What I might do is actually move him there. He's going to die next turn, but that's fine. It's just holding him up. So I'm thinking to myself, well, what else do I do? Well, maybe I just draw another card then, and we get the Heart of the Mountain, and there we go. I don't really have a lot bad to say about this game. Honestly, so far, I've been really enjoying my time with it. It's been an awesome experience, and even losing has not had me screaming, oh, well, that's BS. There is an element of RNG. They didn't thoroughly avoid that, and it's a little unfortunate that they decided to go down that route. It's certainly not as random as something like Hearthstone, but there are some random effects. The Seed Sower, for instance, creates an adjacent forest at random. Obviously, the card drawing element is the random part that you get from pretty much every card game, but every now and again you'll run into a card that's like, oh, this draws a random this color, which costs X less, etc., etc. But I haven't noticed anything that's a complete and total game changer, so I do kind of appreciate that. And hey, rewards, 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 and we can afford ourselves another pack if we so desire. The game seems to be relatively generous as far as I can tell when it comes to doling out cards. You're getting gold rewards based heavily on experience as opposed to wins, so you're not going to get stuck at the bottom being unable to win because you don't have the cards to win, but being able to earn because you don't have the cards, you want the cards, you need the money, you can't earn it, etc., etc. So that isn't really too much of an option. It also has a recruit a friend system as well. Now, the one other game mode that I was talking about was Pandora. This is their arena-style mode, and card drafting is done in a way that makes sense considering the game we're playing. Bearing in mind that this game is heavily based on suits and maybe using 1 or 2 colors at most, it offers you 5 cards per card draft, and you pick one of them. I've also noticed, and I don't know if this is intentional or if it was luck, that as I started to gather cards of a particular color, those color cards seem to pop up in the draft more often. Maybe I was just lucky, but as I got a bunch of blue, I was noticing that I never got red. Red never popped up, and I think that might be by design. You can see the little bars down the bottom here. I have a feeling that might be why. And you see this little lock here? I think that there may very well be some rule in which if you have too many of an opposing color, it locks getting cards from another suit. Maybe. Maybe, just maybe. It doesn't explain itself, actually, at all. Like, the Pandora mode doesn't even have a tutorial, so it would be nice to get some clarification on that. There is one other thing about this, which makes this rather interesting. You may notice these 3 cards. Every 10 cards, you're able to pick what's called a treasure. These are very, very powerful cards. However, you can't play them straight away. Let's queue up, and I'll try and show you what I mean by that. Now, the Pandora mode is not identical to a regular ladder game. Within it, you have what are called Pandora shards. These are randomly mixed into your deck, and whenever you draw one, it adds a shard to the Pandora bar. Yeah, I know that's silly, but whatever. Once the bar reaches 5 shards, it, quote, summons Pandora. What that means is that it unlocks the ability to get those treasures out of your deck. So you don't have access to them immediately, because they're very powerful, but it's something that escalates the game about halfway through. I'm just sort of looking at these. I'm thinking, what can I go for? All right, let's go with that. Yeah, that's not too bad. Pandora shards have been shuffled into the deck. Once 5 shards are found, Pandora awakens. So you don't get penalized for drawing a shard or anything, but once you draw 5, the game enters like a second phase, and you'll be able to draw these treasures, but the mana wells, the Faeria wells on the map, are all disabled. I believe this is probably designed to accelerate the game so it doesn't drag on so much, considering they also give you an additional 3 mana every turn. I'm in 2 minds about the system. I imagine that there is a very good reason indeed for that system to exist. Regardless of that, it's a little, I suppose, sad in my mind that the mana well system is disabled halfway through the game. It would be kind of nice to keep that around. I do like the idea of holding on to those mana wells and that element of territory control. But again, I imagine the reason for that design is to ensure that these games are shorter and more explosive towards the end, and they don't become massive turtle fests. I would assume that's how it works anyway. As you can see here, we have a flying creature, and it also has charge. There are several abilities in this game that are movement-based, such as charge or jump. Jump allows you to hop over obstacles and things like that. Charge lets me move forward 2 hexes in a straight line, and these are obviously very important abilities. Thinking to myself, all right, what can I really do here? We have our little Steam Forge buffing this thing up. Can I play anything? I cannot. What I do need to do maybe is start to gather just a little bit more in terms of my blue land so that I can play the Gabrian system. I'm just flying all the way over here to try and jump on him, but of course he's going to oppose that. He's not going to allow that to happen immediately. Looks like he's running a mostly neutral deck. He's putting down nothing but neutral land. Huge amount of land control going on here immediately. And so far we haven't drawn one of those Pandora shards either. Hey, must be a turtle. And it is indeed a turtle. Turtle is ideal for just sitting around and gathering mana. Hell, I could swim it over there and go and gather his mana. In fact, I'm actually very tempted to do just that. So if we pop him down, and if I place one more of these, then I could play the Gabrian system. I'd pop it right here. And that's going to generate me some nice little extras. I'm thinking what I do with this Dune Drake. Do I want to rush him immediately, or do I want to exploit the fact that I have a flying creature to kill his dude? I'm going to kill his dude. There we go. Take a little bit of control. I can't gather the mana, but now neither can you. I really do like the fact that rather than it just being a regular game, the Pandora mode actually puts a unique twist on it outside of just card drafting. But I imagine some people are going to oppose me on that one and say, well, I don't like this extra weird element to it. I'd rather just play a standard game. I think there's validity to both opinions, honestly. Ooh, mana, mana, mana. Lots and lots of it. Ooh, I could play the Shaitan Demon. That sounds like a great idea, actually. We might very well do that. Reach it all the way over. And this is a pretty strong creature. Alternatively, I could play the Shaitan Demon and then put Column's Training on it, which would allow it to fly and give it charge as well. So that's not too shabby. In fact, that might actually be the way to go. There we go. And my lovely little turtle is hanging around there. And in fact, I'm actually just going to move him off that land, and he's going to take a little bit of a dip. There we go. smack that about, and we can attack from this position if we so desire. And I will. There we go. But yeah, there's validity to both opinions. I think the way to go would probably be just to make 2 different arena modes. One that's more of a standard arena and one that's the Pandora arena. But of course, there is the risk that you split the player base there. And with a smaller indie title, you don't necessarily want to be doing that. You don't want too many game modes. So what's my conclusion on this? This is a game that I think is very much worthy of your time. I've said it time and again when describing titles that are sufficiently different to something like Hearthstone, and I refer to that so much because, of course, there has been so much Hearthstone content on the channel. If you're burned out on Hearthstone, but you like tactics games and you love the idea of a collectible game, a deck builder, a card game, well, that is exactly what this is. And as far as I'm concerned, it really does have an awful lot going for it. It's got a wonderful little art style. This turtle has been lurking and is having you eat, mate. There you go. Nicely done. I'm going to smack you about a bit. I'm going to drop the Windstorm Charger here, and I'm a bit short on cards, so let's do that. It's got some nice little features to ensure, again, that every single one of the turns that you take is always going to allow you to do something. And I very much appreciate that. Turns could potentially drag on, but honestly, in the games up to this point, I haven't really experienced that. People tend to take their turns very simply and very quickly. I mean, I don't have many bad things to say outside of a few minor points. The tutorial maybe could use a little bit of polishing up. It's a little bit overbearing. Pandora mode could do with being explained a little bit better. It would be nice if there was a reminder on these cards right here, these structure cards. That one, they were structure cards. You'll see there is a kind of a reminder in the shape around the mana there, but it would be nice if it just said structure and described what structures do, because structures can't move. They can be played on any land regardless of color as long as you own it, but they can't take Faeria from a well. These are all things, it would just be nice to be reminded of that. We're about to hit Pandora mode, so it'll be nice to be able to show you that. Finally, my structure goes down. This Windstorm Charger is going to go and kick the living snot out of them. That's the plan. Ooh, hello. That is potentially lethal. Trying to see if there's anything that I can get close to it, but not so much. Maybe we can just extend out a little bit there. I'm thinking we're probably just going to play our Gabriel Warden and give protection to this, which is Divine Shield, essentially. Our Death Turtle will go and assassinate the Storyteller. There we go. And steal the mana as well. Lovely. Slap. Thank you very much. Come again. I was thinking of putting that Templar down, but yeah, actually I can do it. It's got dash. It's going to be able to move forward quite nicely. Are we going to get Pandora? Pandora Awakens. There we go. So now we're getting 6 mana return. All the wells are empty, so you don't need to worry about those anymore. You enter the second phase of the game, and you get this treasure. In this case, I have Iona's Mirror. Add 2 copies of the last treasure your opponent played to your hand. Big escalation. Such a smart way to do it, too. They obviously realized that this arena mode had the risk of dragging on too much. Well, he played the Urn of Gabriel, which I can't see what it does. Whereas it draw 2 cards and gain 2 mana, and I get 2 of them. Well, at least I would if I played this. Unfortunately, he got to do it first. That's a bit of a shame. He'll have 2 more treasures in his deck somewhere, so I'll be able to do something about it. Also, not really sure why the card's going here where I can't read it. That seems like something of a bug. At least I can read it in the log over here, so it's not too bad. But yeah, all right, that's where it should be. And oh, there's your Mario plant. That has taunt on it as well. Not pleasant. I would highly recommend that you give it a try, honestly. There's not really a lot to lose. The game seems relatively generous in doling out cards to you, and there's a pretty well fleshed out single player. It's just a very different experience. It's a nice melding of tactics. Oh, I do get it. Very nice. And you know what? I'm going to toss them both out. It's a nice melding of tactics. Oh, I drew the other treasure out of it as well. Wow, look at this. Look at this. This is ridiculous. I am making quite the mess here. This will actually even create Faeria in the well, which is not too shabby. It's a nice mix of deck building, tactics, and CCG. And frankly, it's pretty hard to complain about that. Do I have a way of getting rid of that? I was hoping I would, but apparently not. Oh, maybe if... Can I... Damn it. I didn't actually want to put that in. Yeah, it's all right. Actually, we can do it. Let's just create a lake over there. Use spell whirl. I'm hoping to get a spell to get rid of this so that I can win. A fish. Not quite what I was looking for. And a thing that summons a fish. Again, thank you, I suppose. You can appreciate that to some extent. But like I said, it has a lot going for it. I've been very impressed so far by Faeria. Some pretty damn... Oh, that's not a creature. That doesn't count. Damn it. A pretty damn strong art style. Some really fantastic design overall. Some very unique ideas. And a good melding of genres. Combined, of course, with a developer that looks like they're pretty active and a player base that also happens to be fairly healthy as well. Just to add on to the top of that, they even run their own small esports organization. Every month they give away about $3,500 worth of prizes. And there is also a website with deck building advice and the ability to upload your deck and all sorts of things like that. It's just a very well supported, very well designed game. And I think that it is worthy of your attention. You can find it on Steam if you wish, and it is free. I'll see you next time.